Okay, well, I'm glad nobody threw eggs because I know with Mike's aim, we'd been cleaning it off the piano. But I'm going to invite Kevin up here, do a little question and answer. He's going to give a little feedback. If you guys have written any questions, I'll go ahead and collect those. I do have a few on me, but we'll just pass the mic around other than that. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you again, everyone, for inviting our family today. And it's been really a humbling experience to be able to come and move, possibly the move from Houston all the way up here to Illinois. But as I was sharing earlier during Bible study, if God has called us, He's not asking for perfection. He's really just calling for faithfulness. And so that can be applied to you, whether it's in ministry here or just in your everyday life. So wherever God is calling you, to be able to just be faithful. You're going to mess up. You're going to have your ups and downs just like anyone else. As we saw in Bible study with the disciples, we see that too. But I just want to share a couple of things this morning, and then I believe we have some questions. But just know, again, I've been in ministry since, oh my goodness, put myself on the spot there. I was called to ministry about 2008, I believe, and that was at a men's retreat. And a small little side note, I used to sing country music and Spanish music. So if you're familiar with Selena, Tejano Queen, I started off doing all that. So I quit college. My dad was going to offer for me to go and do all that, but I wanted to seek all that. And we actually had a great opportunity to go to Nashville, my wife and I, to go a little cable show and do all that. And then I wind up getting in a car accident, broke my nose. That's why I look even as more beautiful today than I did back then. And I got in a car accident, so I couldn't sing, and all that really it just went down. But in that moment when you're desperate, as we heard earlier with Jairus and this woman, just crying out to God, like, now what? Because at that point, we had two daughters at the time, and my wife's like, you got to get a real job now, right? I let you do this, and you got to get a real job. And so I began to seek God, and I was raised Catholic, and still had my Catholic Bible, and kind of flipped through that. And it's interesting, I would still read it. I would read it when I was very young. Didn't know what I was reading or really cared, but I just did it because back then we didn't have our phones and TV. So when my mom and dad would send me to my room for being such a good boy, and I was sitting there by myself, I would really just flip through my Bible. And I still have it, and it's amazing to see all the things that I would highlight and circle and things like that. And I really just believe that God was instilling me already the small seeds. So when that time would come and even be able to sing and be in front of a crowd, normally I couldn't do that, but I think with the singing and all that, it allowed me to be able to stand in front of beautiful people just like you. But again, fast forward, and I was called to ministry, started off in youth pastor. I did youth ministry, so I love teenagers. Our youngest is a teenager, 16 years old, so that's probably where all the white hair comes in with all the youth ministry I did. Love doing that. And then I served as a senior pastor for a little bit, 6 years or so at our recent church there. So a little bit over 10 years in church ministry. Again, just following like you guys, following the Lord and what He has planned. And so if God has called us here, I can promise you I won't do it perfectly, but I'll do it faithfully to be able to serve God here in Pana, and we'll do it together. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. So not just me doing everything, but us doing it as a community to reach our community for the Lord. So thank you. So if they wrote the question, are they going to come on down? How many times do you want to say that on the microphone, right? Come on down.
Let's see. What is your passion in ministry?
That probably happened within the last couple of years is something called discipleship. So if you don't know what discipleship is, I just recently finished my doctorate, and I'm not saying that to brag, but maybe a little, and I need to repent of that. But really, though, is getting my doctorate in something called discipleship. And what that is raising up other people to be little mini Jesuses. That's the Great Commission. That's what Jesus told His disciples. When Jesus ascended into heaven, right, He had His disciples there. There was 12 of them or so. And what did they have to do? They had to go out into the world, eventually to the world, to tell people about Jesus. They were making many Jesuses. And so that's what I love to do, to be able to go and see not only the church body, the local church body, but the community of raising them up. And discipleship encompasses a lot of things. It's sharing your testimony. We talked about that earlier, that your testimony is powerful. Everybody's is different. And just because your testimony doesn't start off, well, I was down in the dungeon and I was in prison and all that. Maybe you were raised in church. Guess what? Praise the Lord for that, because you will be able to share your testimony about someone. someone about your life. So that encompasses your testimony, evangelism, and that's just a fancy word of going out and telling people about Jesus. But sometimes we need to be trained to do that and know what to say and make sure that you know the gospel as well. God forbid you go out and tell people about a gospel that you don't even know or maybe believe in. And so anyways, I would say discipleship because it encompasses a lot of things, building relationships. So I would say that's probably been my latest passion of doing that, discipleship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Oh, we got one over here.
I think they're just ready to eat. That's what it is, right?
I
Least
know.
questions.
We
eat.
shouldn't have told them we were eating.
That's what it is. I get it.
I've got two. I'll ask you the tough one first, and
All
then I'll
right,
give you
all
an
right,
easy
go
one.
ahead.
A lot of people in this church came out of a Catholic background. What kind of encouragement do you have for us who have lost loved ones who just can't seem to get it like we did?
Interesting because my wife and I raised Catholic. And one thing that we were, I think maybe we were watching a movie or I don't know what it was about, or maybe something just recently happened. Actually, it was with the Uvalde shooting there in Texas. I think now they're I shouldn't say celebrating, but they're memorializing the 1 year anniversary. And you can see some of these people. They have the angel wings behind these kids and all that, and they talk about, well, one day I'll see him in heaven and things like that. But we all know again, and the sad truth is this, is that I'm not here to be your best friend, and I don't say that in a mean way, but I'm here to teach biblical truth. And one of the hardest truths that we have to swallow is this, that if you're here in planet Earth and you pass away without knowing Jesus, Scripture tells us this, you will spend eternity away in hell. But look, that doesn't sound very encouraging at all. I understand that. But let me tell you this should give you hope. Hope again, because guess what? That should if anything, push you, give you the discipline, give you the passion to go again and God allow you to go and speak the truth of Jesus Christ to anyone that you come into contact with. So again, if anything, that would be some comfort. I understand again because even myself, I have an uncle who just passed away that I don't think knew Jesus. But guess what? When I went and did his funeral, these are the two things I focus on. Was really this. Your time here on planet Earth is not up. Number two is this. You have that opportunity now still to trust in Jesus Christ if you haven't. So I would encourage you with that, with the hope again that even Thessalonians tells us this, that one day again we will be with Jesus if we trust in him.
Thank you. Sure. And the second one's going to be easy. Who is your favorite Christian authors?
Ooh, man. Sure. Hello. There we go. Wow, that's a lot louder. Okay. It's really a variety. I think here's one thing I was even saying during the interview is this. I think there's people that are very good in their own little discipline or study. I know there's some people that are really good in maybe biblical preaching. Even right there in Texas, there's Tony Evans, who teaches right there in Dallas. So I would say with him, it's going to be biblical teaching. But you can look at other people like maybe Wayne Grudem, or you see John MacArthur, and some of them are good in evangelism, some are good at systematic theology. So I don't know if I have a favorite author, but I think each one, again, I have a favorite author in a specific discipline, if that makes sense. And I think you kind of keep those in there. And I have tons of books, which I'm trying to figure out if God calls us here, I'm going to fit all those stinking books there in that house. So my wife's like, yep, you need to get rid of some books because it's tons of, she needs some room for her clothes and things like that. We don't care about the books, right? We need room for our clothes. But answering your question, yeah, it's probably a favorite subject, favorite author for a different subject and discipline. Uh-huh. Questions in the back.
We have one in writing. I don't think this is working still. I'm going to ask you, do you make hospital visits? And probably as a broader question, what sort of ministry do you really focus on?
I think this goes back again to what I just mentioned about me not doing everything and having everyone use their spiritual gift. That goes back to discipleship. Is maybe, again, you don't know your spiritual your spiritual gift. And so I was very blessed at our last church to have 2 elders to really be able to help. Some were really good at texting. Matter of fact, he was about 60-year-old, and he finally learned how to text. And guess what? During COVID, that was a great thing for him. Even if he was like praying for you, send amen to that. People were excited that Pastor Anthony was was actually texting people. So, of course, again, in that situation, if we need to go and make visits, hospital visits, home visits, things like that, we will. But the great thing, again, is not having me do everything, but allowing other people to come with me. I'm sure you guys already have key leaders in the church that do things like that. But guess what? Maybe, again, you've been looking for that opportunity to say, I want to try that. Maybe God has called me. Here's one thing. If you have this little inkling of maybe trying it, do it. I thought I wanted to be a children's pastor, and then I started working with children later on. I'm like, no. My wife's a kindergarten teacher. I'm like, no. This is not where I've been called. And so you need to try things out. One thing I don't want to do is just put you, if we need help doing tithe and offering, we need someone to do at the door, I don't want to put you there if you hate people. That sounds bad too, right? But I love that earlier we had Doug there that was genuinely smiling and talking to people. That's what you want again. So allowing people to serve. So I'll do it, of course, but I want to be able to train other people to be able to do it, because it's not just, this is not my church, this is Christ's church, and we're all part of one body.
Well, you've had an opportunity, I assume, to drive around a little bit.
A little bit.
The question was, how'd you like it? What did you think about it? Or?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a long day. I think we woke up about 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, and we flew into St. Louis, and so we did a little things there, and we had dinner with some of you here last night. So really, we didn't get back to the hotel till about 9:30. Had to stop by the Walmart and stuff like that, check out the local Walmart that was there in Shelbyville. So really, we didn't get to see the town so much. Just on the drive up here, I think Doug was driving us around, so I was trying to keep up with him and then look around at the same time, and so we didn't really see too much, but we're hoping today after church to be able to drive around and look at different things like that. We have a husky as well, so my wife wants to make sure that good old Max is taken care of, and it's dog-friendly, so it looks like there's a lot of things here. But we're hoping later today to be able to do it. I saw that already. Believe me, my wife's like, yep, after that, you know where we're going to check out. So we're going to drive around a little bit and head to some of the local towns and see what's here. Yes, well, I have a beautiful wife, right? She's trained me very well. A beautiful wife, to say that. So she is beautiful. She is. I've known my wife since I was 15 years old. Isn't that crazy? I'm 43. She's 21. She's forever 21. I won't tell you her age because I need to go home tonight and I want to sleep in the bed. But I'm 43 and she's 21. So we've known each other since we were 15 years old. And long story short, I knew from the time I met her that I wanted to be with her, or that I needed to be with her. I ran for a while, and my wife always like, we could have been together a lot longer, but you ran away. It's kind of like Jonah, right? Where God called you to do something and you didn't do it. But we've been married a little bit over 21 years. We have 3 daughters. Our oldest is 20. They all just had birthdays or are having birthdays. So 22 is Cassandra. 23. See, I messed up. 23. I'm glad she's not here. 23 is Cassandra. And then we have 21 is Gabriella. And then Madison back there is 16. So we have 3 girls, all girls. I came from all brothers. And we have 1 dog, again, a husky, who's Max. Yeah. So if we do move here, it'll just be my wife and I, and then Madison. Our older are in college already, halfway through. They're establishing their careers, and so all the family's back home. So they'll be staying in Houston. Suckers, right, when it gets really hot. So we're excited to be here right before the summer starts.
Anybody else?
Sure. Apart from Jesus? No, I understand. I like to work out. I mean, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I like to work out. But I heard that you guys, and we had a little taste of it yesterday, was the cooking here. And you guys cook really well on Wednesday, so I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work. So I think I'm going to have a great relationship with the local gym here down the road. But exercise, we love to go out. Again, we have a dog, and so my wife's really good about, getting us out and just seeing nature, and we were looking at the birds and things like that. I love to watch movies. I probably watch a movie once a day, really at the end. That's my way of kind of toning down. You'll see I'm on social media a lot. I've been off the last couple of months just in the transition from our last church to here, but I do use social media a lot, so I do that as a tool to be able to tell people about Jesus. So I do a lot of videos that you'll see. Some are funny, some are serious. Some are about theological things I'm going to start doing, but they all point back to Jesus. And again, I just use social media as a great tool to reach people about Jesus. So yeah, movies. I hear you guys have a local theater, right? Something like a $9 special or something. Is that true? Good. See, I've been doing my research. I'm telling you. Popcorn, drink, and a movie or something like $9, something like that. Yeah, and in Texas, that's like $9. It's just the popcorn, and that's it. So this is great. Yeah. Great question. Do I like to sing? I told you earlier, I haven't sang. I've here and there, we'll do parties and stuff like that. I think a couple of weeks back, a lot of our friends and family know that we could possibly be moving, and so they pushed me to sing. So I'll sing every once in a while. But the reason, again, I don't want to say I won't ever sing again, but when I started singing, I didn't know Jesus. And so for those of you who know maybe around my age, there was something called MTV and VH1. There was something on VH1 called Behind the Scenes. And what that means is they would show the artists, and they would show all the bad things. Yes, we know they're successful, but it says, oh, they were in drugs, and they were in alcohol, and all these different things. I really do believe that if God didn't call me here in ministry, and if I pursued singing, I'd probably be wrapped up in one of those things. And so I kind of just stay away from that, not because... But in the same way, just know that if God called me, because I know we need a worship band too as well, so maybe if God has called me to sing, I might. My wife tells me that's probably why I haven't prospered, because I need to sing a little bit and all that different stuff. So, I don't mind singing, but at the same time, I don't want it to be theatrical, if that makes sense. I don't want people thinking I'm just singing and things like that to get more views or to bring people in. I genuinely care about your salvation and your soul. I want to see you grow. So if God will allow the singing and the preaching and teaching to go together, then we'll do it. But so far, he hasn't allowed that yet. So we'll see. Stay tuned, right? Stay tuned. I'll start getting the vocal. I start getting the ready in case I need to sing in the next couple of weeks. That was actually a good question that we asked. I don't know if I asked it during the interview, but what do people for fun do in Pana? You like to eat. Okay. Check. We got that down. Eat. Okay. Fishing, lakes, things like that? Okay. I don't know how to swim, just so you know. I really don't. I'm just letting you know. So when you say, why doesn't Pastor get in the water? Yeah, it's because I don't know how to swim. The lifeguard, I took lessons at one time, and I still remember to this day, I was at the auditorium, and he's like, today we're going to learn how to deep dive. I'm like, no. And he literally grabbed me and threw me in the deep end. And to this day, I'm like, nope, I ain't never going near the water again. Ask my wife, I don't like to go to the beach either. I'm like, nope, I'll stay away from the water. It's just that simple. So we'll see. Maybe, again, you guys will break me out of that. But when you see me kind of, when you call me and say lake and I don't answer, you know probably why, right? Pastor Kevin's just scared, but we'll still go. At the pool. You said pool. You said that word, and I'm like, I don't know. But I can stand on the other side of the gate. Oh, the shallow end? Oh, yeah, the splash pad. Oh, yeah, I like the kids' splash pad. Yeah, I like that. Only 3 foot. Yeah, I think I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I don't know anything else. Talked about dogs. We do have a dog. And so if you guys, obviously we have one here already as well. But if y'all know anything about dogs or you're dog lovers, let us know, because we do have a husky. Golden retriever. I've talked to many of y'all. Many of y'all have dogs too. And so, yeah, so if you wonder why we have dog hair all over us, that's what it is. Huskies shed really, really bad. So you'll probably never see me wear black just for that reason as well. What else you should know about me? Obviously, you can see my long hair. I was trying to pin my hair back. Normally, when I do teach, I have my hair back, but I did cut it short just because the summer in Houston, I didn't know God was calling me here. And for the summer, I wanted to trim it because it was pretty long. It was almost to the middle of my back, believe it or not. It was really, really long. So hope you don't mind me pinning up my hair, because I will pin up my hair every once in a while. I was trying to get it out of my face when I was teaching today, but what's that? It gets hot and humid here. I may just have it up or something. That's kind of weird. I probably use more conditioner than my 3 daughters put together. And so I have little brushes and things like that I love. What about my long hair? Well, again, long story short was during COVID, the way that started, I had short hair, just like anybody else, short hair, just like short hair there. And I had it for the longest time. And my wife would always say, grow out your hair. Because, again, since I knew her since 15, I had the same haircut, right? The same stinking haircut. I loved it, but she's like, it's time for a change. So when during COVID, no one could do anything, correct? You remember those times. And so I sat there, and it would just get longer and longer and longer. And I remember my daughter, Madison, she wanted to get a haircut, and she's like, look at my hair. It looks so long. I says, look, nobody can do anything, so it's okay. But look, I'll grow my hair out with you so that way you won't feel bad. And it was great, too, because my hair was really short. And then when it starts getting longer, it gets this little puffy afro type of thing, which nobody was home to see me. But now it fell down, and my wife loves my hair. I'm going to say it again. My wife loves my hair. And so what is that whole saying, happy wife, happy life? And so I was like, fine. Again, it was a lot longer. You can see it's kind of short, but it was down the middle of my back. I think I've cut it twice. And so my other pastor friends, many of them are bald, don't have any hair. And so they would hear me complain, I'm just like, my stupid hair. They're like, shut up, all right? Your long, precious hair. So my wife loves it, and I'm still getting used to it. So that's why I said you'll see me every once in a while. And it's a little shorter right now, so I can't really put it up. But that's kind of the story to my hair. So I'll keep it. My wife loves it. And so the community loves, I was known in our community in Spring Branch as the pastor with the long hair. And so even today, or in St. Louis, my family was saying people were looking at me. They're probably thinking, who's this hippie walking around with his long hair? I said, maybe it'll help me stick out here in the area, because I haven't seen a lot of guys, and I'm looking around, and you guys have long hair, but maybe it'll help me stick out. Oh, you're the pastor with the long hair, so maybe it'll help me stick out here in the community and be better known. We can point him back to Jesus, so we'll see. But I'll keep my long hair. We'll see. At least I got here. Exactly. That's what I hear all the time. All my pastor friends, be quiet. Your long hair. Yes. I played saxophone all through middle school and all that. I sold it like an idiot when I was younger, because after high school, you're like, hey, I'm free. And then I go to a pawn shop. My parents paid $1,000 for it, and I probably got $50, and I thought I was all cool and stuff. And so I regret that even to this day. So if anyone has a saxophone they don't use, I haven't played it in 10 years probably or more, but I've been dying to get another saxophone. So that, going back to me singing country music, I learned 3 or 4 chords, because I was told that's all you need to know to be successful in country music, 3 or 4 chords. And so I still know a little bit. We do have a piano that's at home that I don't really play. It's more like ding, 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 type of thing. But we'll see. My youngest daughter, Madison, wants to pick up drums. And so when we came yesterday, I couldn't see because it was pitch dark, but she told me in the car, there's drums in the car, in the sanctuary. And so she was really excited. So she's hoping to maybe pick up some drums. But there's a drum. All right, there you go. See, we need it. I'm telling you. And again, this just goes back to us trying different things. But singing, of course, saxophone, a little bit of guitar. But we'll see. We'll see. Yes. My week will look back. Well, sure. I'm an early person, and I think I get my best work done early when nobody's awake. So naturally, my wife thinks I'm crazy, but there's times I'll get up at 3 in the morning, and I like to do my study, and then I love to do that, studying. The way I prepare my messages, I prepare them a year in advance, which I know you're thinking, this guy's crazy. I really do. And around the fall of each year, I would go to the Lord in prayer and just say, God, where do you want to take the church? And just after prayer and fasting, we would come up with some kind of schedule. And so I usually know a year in advance, every single message. I may not write them all out. I'm usually about 3 messages ahead every week. So I always have 3 messages already written out. But studying, obviously, going out in the community. I mentioned that during the interview, is that the last church that we were at during COVID, we shared with another churches. We actually shared with 3 other churches in the building. And so they were doing renovations. And so I've been homeless without an office for almost 2.5 years. But that was to my benefit, because that's how I was being labeled as the pastor with the long hair, because I'd go to the local coffee shops, restaurant. That's why I had to work out, because everyone's giving me free food and stuff. And so I would go in the community, really, and I'd take my laptop, and I'd make sure it had the church website open, had my Bible there. And so I love being in the community. To me, that's the best thing you can do, instead of being in these 4 walls here, because you guys are already here, but we need to go out and reach other people. And so I would say the majority, you'll probably find me out in the area here in the community. I probably will still be here, obviously, if you need me, but I'm going to spend the majority of my time outside in the community. My study and all that, I usually do away with no distractions early in the morning. That way, again, you can be available because you know if I start doing my study and someone's going to start knocking and someone's going to call me and you have all these distractions, but they're really not distractions. They're opportunities from the Lord. So I would say out in the community. So if you see me, say hi, right? I know this guy. I know this guy. Anybody else? How about this? Maybe I can ask you guys a question, and I asked this during the interview, but are there some things that you want to see happen here in this church? You want to say in the next 30 days, 90 days, 1 year, something that maybe, and this is not, again, a critique of the current leadership or past leadership, but just, again, maybe something that you're thinking. And if you don't want to share it in front of everyone, just let me know. Come pull me aside and let me know. But if anyone wants to share, anything that you want to see happen here in this church or a need that you see. Because I'm all open. Texas friendly. Oh, believe me, it's very hospitable over here. It really is. My wife and I were saying. Oh, okay. Yeah. Seasoned adults. I didn't mention this, but for a brief moment right before youth ministry, I taught our seniors at the church, and they hated that term, so I started calling them seasoned adults, and they loved it. So you'll never hear me call anyone that's more seasoned, older. I call them seasoned. But youth ministry, yeah, I think a church, a beautiful thing, and I see it here in this church, is different generations, and you need to have that. Yes, sometimes you'll have a lot more older people, but I think, again, if we're being faithful to God's word and going out in the community, I mean, people will naturally draw here, and guess what? This is your opportunity to go and invite people to church. Really is. That maybe you're getting something out of it. You see God working in your life, and obviously you're going to want to invite somebody else to church here. The days that we have food is probably the best thing to do. I always tell people at our last church. You don't even tell them you're bringing them to church. You say, you know what? I'm going to take you out to lunch. Oh, really? But you bring them to church, and we'll lock the door if we have to, if necessary. And they say, but I didn't tell you that. We're going to eat, but it's going to be like 3 hours from now. But you come and have Bible study. We'll have Bible study and do all that. People love food. It's a biblical thing, I have to say. And you guys do it very well already. So it's and we'll have plenty of opportunities for you to invite people because we want you to invite people. We want you to be proud of this local church here and how God is using this church to impact your life. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So youth ministry, I think that'd be really good. We started off in our past church with local middle school, and by the time 2-3 years passed, we were a part of a local middle school, 2 high schools, and then an elementary school that we were part of. And it's a simple way of going in, and everyone can do this. This is what I love about school ministry. Even little children, we'd have them write letters to the teachers. You can make goodie bags, whatever it is, so everybody can be a part. Pastor Kevin, I'm too old. Pastor Kevin, I'm too young. No, you're not. Everyone can serve in some capacity. So just kind of getting our foot in. And I'm sure, again, you guys already have some foot already in the schools and in the community. So we're going to need your help to do that, to strengthen those. So youth ministry is fun. I love it, too. So I have a girl, a young woman. And so I'd love to do that. And so I think I'm ready for another round of youth maybe. We'll see, right? My wife's like, no, count me out. We remember those days, youth camps and lock-ins and things like that. You're up till 3 days, and oh my goodness, right? It takes a toll on you. Our bodies are not like that. Yeah. She's being honest, yes. We're not 20 anymore. I got to remember that. We'll try. Yes? No, I was very, very blessed. And I think we talked about this last night to some of you already. It does help when the school leadership are believers already. I think I had that in some of the schools I were at. So it was a little bit easier. Of course, they were like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't share Christ. But I can love like Christ. See, there's always that fine line there. Yes, I might not be able to say Jesus Christ, but I can love sacrificially like Christ. And so where they're like, man, why are you so nice to me? I don't deserve it. Yes, you don't. But, and that leads into Christ. So things like that. I was able to go and share and pray. We did a community fun run, a color run, where the kids, we actually raised money for the local high schools for prom. And so they'd get all that powder, and they'd run, and they'd throw it in the air and things like that. And so I was able to go and share, pray actually, in the community there for the last 2 years, the first 2 years that they did it. And so things like that. There's people that are open. I've never had any pushback really, but you know what's going to come. And you have to be able to stand your ground. And I think what's great is that nobody really knows me here. So it's like, you can hate me all you want, But I still want to represent Christ. You can't be arrogant, but you do have to be truthful to what God has called us to do. And that goes back again, and I don't mean it to be mean, but I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to be your shepherd. I'm here to speak truth into your life. And sometimes, again, you may not see it at the beginning, but when I speak truth into your life, it's because I love you. And again, sometimes we don't want to step on people's toes because we want to be liked and loved by everybody. But I generally, again, want to speak truth into your life. So I'm hoping that if I step on your toes, just know that I'm doing it in truth and love, that I genuinely love you. And so hopefully the community will see that as well. But we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together for Christ. Amen, definitely. What else? My wife makes some mean rice, Spanish rice, just so you know. She's like, no. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. I need some rice. She loves, yes, make some rice. The people's pastor, that was really, my wife laughed. Yeah. The people's pastor. I'm a big, I love wrestling back in the day. So that if you guys connected, The Rock, he was the people's champ, things like that. I don't watch wrestling anymore. It's not cool like it used to be back in the day. But going out in the community and just being the people's pastor. Again, going out in the community. And there was other pastors that did it as well and things like that. So I didn't stand above anyone. But I did a podcast there in the local community. I was all about supporting local because we were a small church too. And so I never really went to the McDonald's and Subway. I know y'all have these here, but I always like to go to the mom and pop, the local places, because you can build a lot of relationships there. So that's why they would call me the people's pastor. So I did a podcast from a guy who was just starting off, and he's like, I want to interview you. I'm like, sure, you'll get 2 views, me and maybe my wife if I'm lucky, right? And I did that, and he coined me the people's pastor. And so they put us, and again, this is not bragging, but this just shows how we can all have an impact. But they put me like in a local magazine, things like that, and inside it was called the People's Pastor. So, again, that just shows you, but that took time. That was 2-3 years. One of the things that we love to do is make these little mini baskets. We go to the dollar store, get the little basket, and we fill it with just junk food. What's funny was some people, I'd go and take it to them. I don't eat junk food. I'm like, fine. Well, so we got like healthy stuff, and we would go and take it. But really, within the span of a couple of years, we've probably been maybe hundreds and maybe close to 1,000, maybe 500 baskets. And we would just go and just give them to people. I had a little card, talked about the church, and it said, just because. And it had a little smiley face. We're just doing it just because. And that was a great way, again. We did it with the teachers. We did it with local people, city councilmen. There were people even running now for mayor, things like that we actually were able to touch, and talk to. Even though they may not agree with everything, they at least knew what we stood for. And they allowed us to touch the community. Good.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Last chance. Okay.
You can always talk to us. I understand, too. I know sometimes you're like, yeah. You can always talk to us during lunch. It'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course,
Appreciate it.
yeah.
All right, well.